What's up, folks? So here we are again. I'm still talking about this blended family thing. And this, I'm be honest with you, man, this is not really something when I first got married, well, when I first thought about being married, I was like, this is really not. I dated a girl before that had kids. And we talked about getting married. I'm going to tell you, her kids really like me. Her baby girl, her daughter really did like me. And it was good. It was good. We ended up breaking up, of course. She ended up losing her kids. And then she just went downhill mentally. She lost both of them due to some stuff she had done. But that was relatively good. Like, we didn't have issues as far as discipline and everything like that because they was young. And we would take them out to eat and we would hang out with them and do things with them. And the dad was nowhere to be found. He ended up getting married. He had a, like, it was a whole crazy mess. But we, for the most part, it was pretty good. You know, it was way better than my initial experiences being married and my wife having two kids. Now I already knew them, but there was a lot of people. When it came to discipline, I didn't discipline. I would be like more like, hey, look, so and so over here doing something they ain't supposed to do. And I say, you know your mama doing that? I mean, your mama know you doing that? You probably shouldn't be doing that. It was more of an indirect type of disciplinary thing. But I jumped on the bandwagon real quick because I wanted to make sure they was doing stuff they wasn't supposed to do. I would make sure they had discipline. But when I would report to her certain things, she didn't put her foot down and she didn't handle business like she was supposed to. You know, if I said, like there was an issue with some stuff that he was doing, and when it went down, she was like mad at the teacher at first because, he was a disciplinary issue. And I was like, well, he's doing this all the time. He did it at this person's house. He did it at that person's house. He did this and he did that. And I was like, you really need to get down and talk with him about what's going on with what he's doing. From what I can remember, she was more aggravated with me pressing the issue. But I don't feel like I was too harsh. Because I was like, you don't want me to discipline them. But I feel like you're not doing enough to correct the situation. I don't feel like you're doing enough to where he understands like this is some bullshit he should not be doing. And, things worked out, over time, but I still feel like she had sheltered him and protected him. And then when the children were doing things, not just hers, but mine also, doing stuff they weren't supposed to do, I was very firm. And she didn't like that. So it kind of, I didn't know any other place to be. Like, I'm not going to play with you. Why would I do that? And you're not going to take me serious. When it came to, I used to whoop them. They didn't like that. Church members got involved and was like, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. I'm like, okay, we all grew up on whoopings. Most of us did. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you got a whooping, and punishment kind of didn't send it home, especially if you ain't have shit to take from you. You didn't have a nice bike, you didn't have a game system, and we didn't have a lot of that. I think the TV and the game system was probably the biggest thing, and not being able to go outside. Not being able to go outside. You tell these kids these days they can't go outside, they wasn't going outside anyway. Most of them. So there was immediate response to the BS that we put out growing up as a kid when I was younger. That did not work with my wife and her kids. It was just crazy. It was just a crazy thing. And then, there was an issue with, let me read something. So roles and discipline. Initially, biological parents should handle discipline when step parents focus on building positive support relationships. So I'm going to support you, but if this happens over here, something happening, and it needs discipline, you don't have to whoop them, because discipline, it doesn't mean whoop your child. Discipline means discipline your child, put your child in place. You can read rules on the chalkboard and know that these are the rules. So therefore, you have been disciplined verbally. Well, with text, you have been disciplined. They have showed you this is what's going to happen. These are the rules. This is what's going to happen. And I felt like she was so lenient. It was just bonkers. It was just bonkers. Rarely did I see my wife whoop my child. And then not my child, her children, when her biological children, when she whooped them, one time she took a switch out. Oh my God, I seen her whoop them with a switch. I was like, okay, so they should get it. And I allowed it because it was just one of those things. But when somebody else that was outside of the circle stepped in and was like, I remember one time he had did something at his auntie house, and his auntie was mad. He drank up like a whole pitcher of Kool-Aid or something like that. I don't know, I can't remember. And she came to the house and was like, he drank up all that, drove down to her daddy house, and that's where we was all staying, and it was like, yo, he came now, he drank up all that Kool-Aid, and I'm finna whoop him. I'm like, back then I was like, no, you not. She had 2 switches wrapped up. I said, I said, look, man, I'm not finna let you whoop this dude. Not with no 2 switches wrapped up. I said, for real, not even with 1, because you not in the circle. You not his parent. You not taking care of shit over here. It'd be something different if we wasn't here, but we are here. And his mom, I can't really remember how it was going on, but she didn't put up much of a fight with the way her sister came in there, was just loud and everything. Then when she was loud, everybody got involved in the bullshit. And so the way that was going down, I didn't like for people to get involved in what we had going on. It was never reserved to a point where it was, secluded to a few main people, being me, her, me and my wife, and whoever he offended, and the child, of course. So at the most in that situation should have been 4 people talking, and I would be her support for discipline. But I wasn't going to let her come down there and just beat him because she felt like she needed to. And I was like, nah, you're not finna do that, man. You need to go somewhere with that. I was going to prevent that from happening because you was being ridiculous. You didn't have a belt and you weren't finna whoop him on his butt. I was like, you're not his mama, so it's not going to happen. And the times when my wife did whoop them with a switch, it was like she was mad. She was hot because they had did something, I can't remember. But shoot, she put it down. And in those few times that I seen her do that, and they didn't really get no negative feedback from that situation, not too often. But I supported her, and when she was really doing her job and she was disciplining them. But on the other hand, it's like I feel like I didn't get much support. It's like she supported me, but she kind of stayed out of it. And I just don't feel like when you got a mixed family, a blended family like that, those rules, if you're not killing the child, if you're not breaking any laws, y'all can do basically what y'all want to do. If y'all can get y'all child disciplined without whooping them, I'm all for that. But if you at a point where you don't know what to do and a lot of things ain't working, man, it's like, what can you say? What can you really do in that situation? You got to work, you got to talk, you got to get together and try to make things, I'm trying to get back to my page, try to make things as cordial as possible We also dealt with emotions and loyalty. Children often struggle with conflicting loyalties. They need to feel safe expressing their feelings without judgment. We had an issue one time, and I said to them, I said, I understood that there was like a barrier. So it was like, if you feel like you can't talk to me, then go talk to your mama. If there's something that I did to offend you, go talk to your mama and then come back and speak with me. Or let her communicate for you. Let her be your advocate and then come back and let me know how you feel so we can get to the bottom of the situation. I said, you can write a letter, you could text me, or you can go talk to your mama, tell your mama how you feeling. And I had to honor that because there was it was necessary for communication to get better between all of us. That worked out kind of well, but there was still things that slipped through the cracks, man. They was doing shit behind my back and behind our backs and everything, and we kind of didn't find out about that till later because she was not an inquisitive person. I was like, yo, remember this time this thing happened? What was you doing? Yeah, well, I was like, I knew that. But then when I would tell her about it, she would just throw it under the rug. Not even throw it under the rug. She was just like, nah, you thinking crazy. They didn't do nothing like that. And I said, man, you don't know your kids as well as you think you do. So, yeah, it's a really tough thing. But like I believe that you can run into these things in a whole family. I really believe that because I went through that. And I had both my parents in the same house, and I had 3 older siblings. I'm the baby boy. We had those things happening. So, a lack of communication. We had all of those things that take place in a blended family. So, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. I hope you guys got something out of it. I will see you tomorrow, and I hope that if you are experiencing life in a blended family, that things are done accordingly and things are taken care of like they're supposed to. I hope y'all experience a lot of respect and love and togetherness, communication, things like that, because it's going to take that in order for it to work. And I do believe that the parents, when they're on the same page, that things will flow a lot smoother. So I'm going to get with y'all tomorrow. Peace out.